Every rider with decades in the saddle knows the feeling. You sit on a motorcycle, settle into the controls, and instantly know whether it's built for real miles. At EICMA 2025, that instinct kicked in hard, and not in a good way. Several new models revealed themselves as style pieces without the engineering to back it up. The crowds sensed it, the test riders felt it, and the silence around certain displays said more than any critic could. In this video, we're exposing the machines that missed the mark and the flaws veteran riders spotted instantly. Watch this one to the end. You'll want to see who tops the list. Number 7. Honda Rebel 1100 Touring DCT. A touring machine earns judgment quickly, and the Rebel Touring exposed its limits the moment riders settled into its posture. A touring motorcycle must deliver stability, usable torque, and a posture that eases strain on real highway time. Yet this machine arrived at EICMA with an identity that felt uncertain from the first glance. Instead of standing as a committed long-range platform, it leaned on technology and marketing rather than proven geometry. Its dual-clutch transmission became the central point of conflict. Some riders appreciate convenience, but seasoned riders know that long-haul control comes from managing the engine directly. The system removed the mechanical relationship many riders refuse to give up. On a machine claiming touring intent, that separation felt misplaced. The chassis also carried decisions aimed at newer riders, rather than the veterans who dominate the touring space. Foot placement and handlebar sweep felt tuned for short rides rather than serious distance. The seating posture lacked the support riders expect for state-to-state travel. The frame delivered agility at slow speeds, but never settled with the poise required for sustained interstate movement. Crosswind stability felt compromised, and wind protection remained minimal. The model looked the part from certain angles, but once placed on open highway, the truth surfaced. A touring motorcycle without proper refinement becomes a burden rather than a partner. And this one struggled to hide that fact. The electronics package felt excessive, adding layers of software where solid engineering should have taken priority. A touring motorcycle does not need systems attempting to mask structural weaknesses. Experienced riders want simplicity that supports control, not technology that replaces fundamentals. The Rebel Touring leaned on these additions to imply long-distance capability rather than building that strength into its frame, balance, and geometry. Riders at EICMA recognized this immediately. They saw a motorcycle aimed at attention, not durability. Potential alone means little without execution. And seasoned riders demand a machine that settles into a steady rhythm as miles accumulate. The Rebel Touring never earned that trust. Its engine showed willingness, yet the overall structure lacked the calm, grounded behavior required for real touring. At highway speed, confidence matters more than features. And the Rebel Touring failed to provide the stability and assurance riders expect from a machine built for serious travel. The Rebel 1100 Touring DCT produces approximately 85 horsepower from a 1,083 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine, makes 72 pound-feet of torque, uses a front and rear anti-lock braking system, carries a conventional telescopic front fork with dual rear shocks, weighs about 535 pounds wet, offers a seat height of 27.5 inches, and begins slightly above $11,300 depending on trim. Another machine waited on the floor to prove that styling alone never guarantees real road confidence. Number 6. Yamaha XSR 900 GP. A glance at the XSR was enough to show that its retro promise carried far less substance than seasoned riders expected. The XSR arrived dressed in a retro shell meant to evoke an era defined by precision, discipline, and machines built by riders who lived their craft. Yet, beneath that appearance sat a design that never aligned with the steady expectations of experienced riders. The motorcycle leaned too heavily on style, while ignoring the deeper qualities that give a machine lasting meaning. The styling attempted to draw from racing heritage, but real heritage comes from proven mileage, mechanical honesty, and a sense of purpose that carries through every mile of open highway. Riders who walked up to the XSR at EICMA expected a motorcycle with depth behind its appearance. Instead, they found a platform focused on surface nostalgia rather than structural integrity. The decision to elevate styling over substance turned the motorcycle into something that appealed to photographs more than to miles. Older riders know that a motorcycle must feel grounded. Weight distribution must settle the chassis, suspension must remain predictable across broken pavement, and the engine should work with the rider rather than demand constant negotiation. The XSR lacked this measured confidence. Its design choices pushed most of the experience toward higher RPM engagement, leaving riders who appreciate steady, low-end torque without the control and satisfaction they expect. The seat design further distanced the motorcycle from its intended audience. Touring riders, commuting riders, and anyone who values comfort over novelty immediately recognized that the seating offered little support for long rides. A motorcycle that cannot hold its posture on extended highway time loses credibility. The XSR felt tuned for short city stretches rather than real roads where a rider must settle into a rhythm and focus on the passing miles. The lighting and control layout added to the disconnect. Styling cues borrowed from older race machines created visual interest, but did little to enhance function. Experienced riders want switches, gauges, and ergonomics that feel intuitive in every situation. The XSR instead prioritized theme over practicality. A themed motorcycle may gain attention on a show floor, but it loses appeal once real conditions demand consistency. A machine meant to honor the past must meet the expectations of riders who lived it. Yet, the XSR offered nostalgia without the refinement required to earn respect. Its engine produced performance, but the ride lacked cohesion, leaving heritage reduced to paint and styling. Throughout the event, riders saw an effort to evoke memory without delivering the qualities that define true authenticity. Nostalgia must come from engineering proven under pressure. And the XSR told a story it never supported with substance. The XSR 900 GP produces around 119 horsepower from an 890 cubic centimeter engine, makes approximately 68 pound-feet of torque, uses a front and rear anti-lock braking system, carries an inverted front fork with a rear monoshock, weighs between 425 and 433 pounds wet, depending on equipment, offers a seat height of 32.7 inches, and begins in the low $11,000 range. The model that follows showed how brute strength can lose its purpose when the fundamentals fall out of balance. If you've ridden long enough to recognize when a machine misses the mark, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss these breakdowns. Share your thoughts below, because real riders keep this conversation honest and grounded in experience. Number 5. Triumph Rocket. 3. Storm R. A machine built on massive displacement should command respect, yet the Storm struggled to translate raw size into meaningful control. Yet the Storm carried that reputation without delivering the balance that experienced riders demand. A motorcycle built around extreme displacement must offer more than spectacle. It must provide discipline, stability, and usable strength that translates into confidence over long miles. The Storm offered numbers that looked impressive on paper, but once examined through the eyes of seasoned riders, the machine revealed a lack of harmony between its size, its power, and its practical purpose. The most immediate concern arose from the motorcycle's weight and posture. A platform with this much displacement requires a frame capable of settling its mass predictably at any speed. The Storm often felt like an engine searching for a motorcycle rather than a motorcycle shaped around an engine. When the power came alive, the chassis did not provide the measured response riders expect from a machine meant for real-world roads. Instead of feeling planted and composed, the motorcycle demanded constant attention. Older riders know that a motorcycle with this level of output must behave with quiet authority. Any hint of imbalance undermines the entire experience. The riding position added another disadvantage. Long-distance riders require a natural reach, a neutral bend in the knees, and a seat contour that supports the lower back through hours of steady travel. The Storm leaned toward an aggressive stance that did not serve the needs of experienced touring riders. The tank width, peg position, and bar layout created a posture that felt caught between performance and comfort, providing neither in full measure. A motorcycle of this scale should carry its rider with dignity and stability, Yet the storm pushed the rider into a stance that felt strained on extended rides. The engine delivered impressive strength, yet its power arrived in bursts better suited for short runs than sustained travel. Riders who value low RPM authority found little of the smooth, predictable pull they expect. Much of the storm's personality lived in the upper range, creating a style that clashed with real-world needs. Its imposing design only emphasized this imbalance, projecting strength without providing the substance behind it. Respect must be earned through comfort, control, and balance, not by displacement alone. The Rocket 3 Storm R produces about 165 horsepower from a 2,458 cubic centimeter engine, makes 163 pound-feet of torque, uses a front and rear anti-lock braking system with Brembo calipers, carries a Showa inverted front fork with a Showa rear monoshock, weighs roughly 720 pounds wet, offers a seat height of 29.5 inches, and begins at approximately $24,495. Farther along this list stands a machine that leaned heavily on electronic ambition, yet failed to support the rider who depends on mechanical truth. Before we move on, take a moment to check the description. Your gears and accessories are waiting there. Number 4. Moto Guzzi Stelvio V4. A name with history deserves engineering that honors it. But the Stelvio revealed a focus on features instead of foundation. The Stelvio entered EICMA positioned as a modern adventure platform meant to carry a legacy name into a new technological age. Yet, the moment riders stepped closer, it became clear that the machine leaned more toward electronic display than mechanical truth. A motorcycle designed for distance, pressure, and unpredictable terrain must first earn trust through its fundamentals. Instead, the Stelvio relied on features that complicated the riding experience without enhancing the core qualities that define a dependable long-range machine. The riding position revealed the first concern. Adventure motorcycles must provide a posture that balances confidence at low speeds, with endurance for long highway stretches. The Stelvio's seat geometry and peg placement pushed riders into a stance that felt suspended rather than grounded. Older riders understand immediately when a motorcycle fails to settle beneath them. The Stelvio carried its weight in a manner that made its height more apparent than necessary, especially during the slow maneuvers that seasoned riders perform instinctively. A machine that demands attention in routine moments becomes a burden in demanding ones. The electronics package expanded that concern. Radar assistance, automated monitoring, and layered dynamic settings looked impressive when presented on a show floor. Riders who value simplicity, durability, and manual control saw something else entirely. They recognized a motorcycle that placed critical functions behind software instead of behind proven mechanical design. Electronics should complement the ride, not replace the rider's judgment. The Stelvio crossed that line, shifting too much responsibility onto sensors and alerts. Such systems may appeal to newer riders, but they rarely instill confidence in individuals who have spent decades depending on mechanical predictability. Wind protection further revealed the machine's uncertain direction. Adventure riders need a fairing that reduces fatigue without creating instability. The Stelvio's windscreen created turbulence at speeds that matter on open roads. Riders who judge motorcycles by the steady rhythm they offer during long travel quickly recognized an issue that no amount of radar integration could correct. Inconsistent wind behavior leads to shoulder strain, neck fatigue, and constant adjustment. A motorcycle built for distance must remove distraction, not introduce it. Weight management shaped much of the Stelvio's reception, as its mass created a higher-than-expected center of gravity. Although the engine offered smooth delivery, the motorcycle's balance weakened the power it carried, leaving riders at EICMA searching for stability they never found. The machine attempted to modernize a respected lineage, but drifted from the grounded engineering that once defined it. Reliability, balance, and rider confidence matter more than styling or electronics, and experienced riders recognized a design built for display rather than real miles. The Stelvio V4 produces 115 horsepower from a 1,042 cubic centimeter engine, makes 77 pound-feet of torque, uses a front and rear anti-lock braking system, carries a long travel inverted front fork with a rear monoshock, weighs around 520 to 530 pounds wet, offers a seat height of about 32.7 inches and begins above $16,000, depending on configuration and radar options. Another motorcycle weighted with a more polished image, only to reveal how forced identity can crumble under real performance expectations. If you want straight talk without marketing noise, take a second to subscribe. Every week, we cut through showroom polish and expose the truth behind these machines, giving riders the clarity they deserve before trusting another manufacturer's promises. Number 3. Ducati Diavel V4. A power cruiser must deliver strength with purpose, yet the Diavel stepped into the spotlight without the harmony riders expect from such a claim. The Diavel arrived at EICMA carrying the reputation of a power cruiser, yet once riders stepped close, the truth became clear. The motorcycle favored dramatic presence over the grounded qualities that veteran riders respect. A machine can carry sharp lines and aggressive posture, but if it lacks the character required for real-world miles, experienced riders notice immediately. The Diavel delivered acceleration, but acceleration alone does not create a trustworthy motorcycle for riders who value discipline and long-term confidence. The posture of the motorcycle revealed much about its intention. The low seat and stretched stance demanded constant engagement from the rider during any meaningful distance. Older riders know that a true power cruiser must support the body across long hours without strain. The Diavel pushed weight through the wrists, compressed the back, and offered little relief from the forward reach required at highway speeds. A motorcycle that asks for strength rather than providing support becomes tiring long before the road asks anything difficult of it. That kind of fatigue removes enjoyment from the experience and exposes the machine's shortcomings quickly. The nature of the engine added to that separation. Riders who grew up with strong, low-end torque expect a motorcycle to rise with authority from the bottom of the power band. The Diavel demanded higher revs before its character appeared, creating a feeling of impatience rather than controlled strength. Veteran riders understand that real power is not defined by peak numbers, but by the ease with which a motorcycle moves through everyday situations. The Diavel behaved more like a sport machine, trapped inside cruiser ergonomics, and that conflict removed the calm, steady assurance that seasoned riders depend on. Handling widened the divide between expectation and execution, as the motorcycle carried weight that made slow maneuvering feel heavier than necessary, while high-speed cornering introduced hesitation where stability should have been certain. A machine built for straight-line power must still hold a firm line without resisting the rider's input. Yet, the Diavel forced compromise at low speed and caution at high speed, turning excitement into fatigue. The engine's sound and character also felt distant from traditional power cruisers, lacking the familiar mechanical heartbeat riders trust. Force without warmth cannot create loyalty, and the Diavel's identity relied on posture rather than purpose. Riders at EICMA sensed a machine offering numbers and flash without the cohesion expected from motorcycles grounded in heritage and practicality. The Diavel V4 produces 168 horsepower from a 1158 cubic centimeter engine, makes 93 pound-feet of torque, uses a front and rear anti-lock braking system with Brembo calipers, carries an inverted 50mm front fork with a rear monoshock, weighs roughly 498 pounds wet, offers a seat height of 31.1 inches, and begins at $26,995. A different take on modern performance brought its own form of misdirection, proving that imitation cannot replace earned engineering. Number 2. Harley-Davidson Fat Boy. A motorcycle built to symbolize American strength carries a responsibility few machines can handle, and the Fat Boy entered the spotlight at EICMA, carrying more weight than its engineering could justify. Riders approached it, expecting the familiar blend of muscle, heritage, and road presence that defined earlier generations. Instead, they found a machine shaped by corporate design choices, rather than the mechanical honesty that gave the Fat Boy its name. Power cruisers earn loyalty through stability, torque, and long-mile confidence, yet this version struggled to honor the lineage riders spent decades respecting. Its stance told the story before the engine ever fired. The wide front tire, once a signature element, now worked against the motorcycle in everyday situations. Steering effort increased, parking lot control suffered, and low-speed transitions required more muscle than seasoned riders felt a modern cruiser should demand. Real strength shows through composure, not bulk, and that distinction became clear as riders took their first steps around the motorcycle. The Fat Boy projected authority, yet much of that authority came from visual mass rather than refined balance. Riders evaluated the ergonomics next, hoping for the steady, grounded feel of earlier years. Instead, the seating position placed the rider in a posture that encouraged constant correction rather than relaxed command. Forward controls stretched the legs, but not in a way that complemented the bar reach. The result was a cockpit that looked good in photos, but did not settle the rider into the frame. A cruiser designed for American roads must support the spine, center the weight, and remove strain from the wrists. The Fat Boy delivered the opposite, forcing riders to work harder than expected for basic control. Throttle response revealed another mismatch. The engine offered willingness, but its delivery lacked the low RPM confidence that defines meaningful torque. Veteran riders expect a cruiser to rise with authority as soon as the throttle opens. Yet the Fat Boy required more rotation and more patience before the engine settled into useful power. Machines built on heritage should lean into the strengths that made them iconic, not drift toward behaviors that distance them from their intended audience. Suspension behavior continued the trend. Rough pavement exposed a setup far stiffer than riders preferred, transmitting more vibration and impact into the seat than a cruiser of this class should allow. Long mile, comfort matters. And when a motorcycle struggles to isolate the rider from the road, fatigue begins earlier than it should. That fatigue reveals engineering compromises riders notice immediately. Many who examined the Fat Boy at EICMA described the same impression. The motorcycle had presence, but presence alone is not purpose. A machine built on legacy must meet the standards set by earlier generations. It must prove it can deliver smooth power, stable handling, and long-distance comfort without leaning on nostalgia to explain away shortcomings. Riders want a motorcycle that feels ready for real miles, not a model built to satisfy showroom aesthetics. It produces 94 horsepower from a 1,868 cubic centimeter engine, makes 119 pound-feet of torque, uses a front and rear anti-lock braking system, carries a dual bending valve front fork with a monoshock rear suspension, weighs 699 pounds wet, offers a seat height of 25.9 inches, and begins at $20,349. Another machine stands ahead, revealing how even respected names can fall short when design overtakes purpose. Number 1. BMW R9T Pure. A roadster built around simplicity must justify every part of its design, yet the Pure Nanette revealed gaps that seasoned riders recognized immediately. The Pure Nanette arrived at EICMA carrying the image of a traditional roadster meant to honor mechanical honesty. Yet, beneath that appearance sat a motorcycle defined more by presentation than by value. Riders who approached it expected a machine shaped around practical engineering, long-term durability, and the kind of grounded character that older riders depend on. Instead, they found a motorcycle that demanded a premium for offering less than what most riders consider essential. The riding position showed the first sign of compromise. A true roadster must carry the rider with a neutral posture that supports long hours without strain. The Pure Nanette placed the rider forward just enough to create subtle pressure on the wrists, with pegs positioned in a way that offered neither comfort nor performance. Riders who spent decades evaluating motorcycles by the way they hold the road understood immediately that this posture did not support real-world distance. A motorcycle meant to be simple should provide straightforward comfort. But the Pure Nanette delivered a compromise that felt unfinished. The equipment further revealed the imbalance. A motorcycle priced at this level should offer structural refinement and functional features that justify its cost. Instead, the Pure Nanette arrived with minimal rider aids, limited suspension adjustability, and a parts package that felt stripped down rather than intentionally streamlined. Seasoned riders do not expect extravagance. They expect value. They expect parts chosen for longevity, stability, and real utility. The Pure Nanette leaned heavily on nostalgia to justify its design, but nostalgia alone cannot carry a motorcycle across long miles. Engine character added another conflict. Roadsters succeed when their torque curve offers strong, predictable pull at lower speeds, allowing riders to move through everyday traffic and open roads without searching for the right moment. The Pure Ninette provided enough power to satisfy casual riding, yet its delivery lacked the substantial low-end authority that experienced riders associate with the machines they trust. The engine worked, but it did not inspire. A motorcycle at this price must offer a connection that riders feel in every shift. The Pure Ninette delivered motion without the emotional weight that defines meaningful machinery. Handling continued the theme of uncertainty, as the motorcycle carried its weight in a way that made low-speed maneuvering feel heavier than expected. At speed, the chassis behaved predictably, yet it lacked the grounded confidence riders expect from a roadster built around simplicity. A machine marketed as pure should feel rooted in every corner and braking zone. But the Pure Ninette felt more like a design exercise than a purpose-built tool. Its greatest problem was cost, because minimal equipment should lower the price, not raise it, leaving the Pure Ninette offering less while demanding more. The R9T Pure produces 109 horsepower from a 1170 cubic centimeter boxer engine, makes 85 pound-feet of torque, uses a front and rear anti-lock braking system, carries a standard telescopic front fork with a rear monoshock, weighs roughly 483 pounds wet, offers a seat height of 31.7 inches, and begins near $11,500, depending on market and configuration. The truth behind this motorcycle closes the countdown, but its lesson extends across the entire industry. If you've made it this far, you're one of the riders who refuses to get fooled by flashy marketing and showroom polish. Now it's your turn. What did we get right? And which bikes do you think completely missed the mark this year? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like if you want more straight talk breakdowns just like this. And make sure to subscribe so you never miss the next deep dive into the machines the industry doesn't want you to look too closely at.